Now in New York, they're discovering a rise in certain in babies defects, defects in babies, and some born with part of the skull missing, part of the brain missing, and so on. And I was talking to some teachers about this matter, and there's a. It seems as if there are more disabled or people with disabilities in school children than before. And I've asked several of them what they think about it, and they're telling me that it's because people are more aware of certain things now, and there's more testing, and there's more money and whatever. This is why they're discovering that there are more of these problems. And whenever I show them my perspective, they feel that theirs is right, and you know what I mean, it could lead to other problems. But let me show you what I think here. Today, people are doing more stupid stuff than in the past. More people are using coffee and staying up late at nights, working when pregnant. Others are using drugs, all kinds of drugs. They're using heroin, cocaine, crack, marijuana while pregnant. I remember I met this lady in Oakland, and she says whenever she's pregnant, she stops using drugs. And I don't believe that, because, you know, if she could make a decision like that for a baby, what about for herself? It's hurting her badly. Why can't she? She can't stop. I mean, as a theologian and all that, I know basically she's just joking. Maybe she wants to hear somebody say, well, let's have some babies. But she'll be smoking that stuff when you're not around or whatever. And I think one of the biggest problems that nobody would research and can test is these exploratory things that people are doing. They're using high technology to hurt themselves. Now, long ago, when a baby was expected, the parents went and they bought boy and girl clothing, pink and blue, because they weren't sure what sex the child is going to be. And they were prepared to accept whatever sex came. But today, you could do the ultrasound and you know exactly what sex child you're having. So there's no more excitement and guess. Straight up at a certain time, you could know what sex the child is. And I'm arguing that this is a big, big problem because you're intruding on this fetus. That noise and that whatever that does to image that fetus, it's a disruption. The development of the fetus probably it's what's the word? Hampered, so that whatever was being developed at that time probably gonna skip, or it wouldn't have its perfect development, as it were, arrested development as such they're doing. And just the other day we see this pregnant woman bend down lifting weights. She's doing cross weights or whatever. I don't know. I think it's just that folks aren't informed these days. We're almost like in the Middle Ages, where evil is predominant and people go to school and they haven't learned anything. So with that combined, you're talking about Middle Ages. We are right now trying to reinvent the wheel. Women over time had accumulated certain cultural views and certain practices and habits and so on, norms and mores, that were based on experiences that happened in the past. But they're coming out with open-minded, I'm educated, I'm so smart, this and then study nothing. Okay, forget the educated part, but they just feel that being in school and be able to use a couple of terms that they learned that are of the profession, that they're scholars or whatever. But why would I go to college, study biology, study health principles, study, and end up using drugs? I mean, that's kind of, I don't understand that, but I do understand it in the sense that they're evil. They're into all kind of voodoo and all kind of magic and Halloween or whatever. So they're going to do stuff that to them is so exciting, but it's hurting them. One guy in Florida told me, say, he experienced it. If it were possible that you could lift weights with your brain, he says that you would start lifting 100 pounds. It's like, yes, I'm going to go to 200 soon. But as soon as you start using marijuana, you start slipping. You can only lift 50 pounds, 20 pounds. And intellectually and the ability to lift the weights that had been, the norm in the past has declined to such an extent. And folks can't perceive that because it happens so gradual. But talk to them about, let's go back to college and study for a master's degree, and give all kind of excuses because their conscience, the will, the emotions, the whole mental capacity there has been compromised, and they don't think they could do it. And so with these pregnancies now, these women are doing some stuff that you don't even imagine. The stuff they want to watch horror movies, they're into stressful situations for long periods of time, and they don't seem to understand, the whole deal. I've spoken to some women, and I'm sure that I talked to another woman. She says that, yeah, right, because I've never been a woman and I don't understand stuff. But I've talked to some women and they don't even know about ovulation. What are you talking about? Ovulation, time when the eggs coming down to, whatever. But women would scoff at me because there's some indication the woman might have. It mightn't be the honey or the milk that comes along, making it, slippery for everything to happen. But it also could be that she feels horny. But then sometimes she might be so high, or her brain has been so affected by drugs, etc., that I am not sure. But I could assume maybe she doesn't feel horny as before, but the eggs coming down anyway. Stuff like that. And today women are thinking that they have the opportunity to do anything they want. There's a free society. You could be anything you want. And when you look at schools, you see that young boys and young girls, they're doing the same things. Girls now are doing this Tarzan thing, they're holding up a bar and they stretch and they're moving from one end on a ladder going down across the other end. They're doing strength things. And then later on they come to feel that, oops, I was such a tomboy growing up. Now all the girls are now being exposed to tomboyism. Okay? And whereas womanhood, there's so much knowledge they need about womanhood, about the body, how to please the man, how to take care. They got to be the medical doctor, they got to be everything at home. And they're not studying that, they're studying to skateboard and to ride bikes and speed and racing and lifting weights and all this kind of stuff. They know more about basketball and baseball and football than me. Man. And they're doing things that instead of buying the child a doll, they buy them a skate or a scooter or something, and they're thinking that this is a joke. But they are missing out on some important things that they should have been knowing. And then the mother's working, and then most folks don't even understand because the tradition has not continued, so folks don't even understand what's going on. And plus the working, so these young girls are not being acculturated into the world of womanhood and motherhood and wifehood and so on. And so they're doing things that are harming these kids, and I don't know where to start. And if everybody now becomes disabled, I mean, Reagan and them were able to close down the mental institutions and so forth. Today, like, almost everybody would be in mental institutions, and whereas it was just designed for a fraction of 1% of the society, now maybe only 1% of the society really straight in the head. I mean, I hope it's not that grim or bad, but these brain injuries and these defects, and of course some of them are postponing the children until they're older and whatever. They want to see the world, they want to accomplish all these career things and whatever. I mean, we as a people we have to sit down and say what is important, and some people have to sacrifice. Maybe what we should do is all girls trained up this motherhood and this whatever, go to university and everything free. You don't have to pay for education. You get in a check straight up. As a woman, you're getting a certain assistance. And the more education you get, the larger it could be. Get married, have your kids, do whatever. Because, you put them in the military, you put them in a whole bunch of places where women have to rest during the day. There's sometimes in the month when they don't have no energy. Now, they may go to work and play brave, but all they're doing is using up energy for the future, from the future. So they end up with all kind of health problems and die earlier and so on. So these baby defects aren't a necessarily phenomena. We could look at what we're doing and stop being broad-minded and understand that these things have consequences, and go back to how the traditional way that women were treated and women thought of themselves. You can't be pregnant and lifting weights and driving and doing stressful jobs, working a bulldozer, driving a truck and all that stuff. I mean, you're going to end up with children that are born with a problem, because the way the body's made, they rest a lot. In the development of this fetus, maybe the rest coincides with his development, or the child development, and the whole 9 yards. So unless we're going to be prepared to look at the whole way in which we have pushed women in this corner now, we can just be going around in circles. And I think that this is just the tip of the iceberg. And these concepts that I've presented here, I think they're germane, and we should look at them and see if they aren't really, really, really some of the effects, some of the causes of these birth defects.